Well, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk of the Tundra, your Green Bay Packers podcast as a proud partner of the Euroset Podcast Network and the Blue Wire family. As always, I'm your host, Numac, and joining me today to talk about the Week 1 matchup is my lovely co-host, Jordan Tresky. Jordan, how you doing?
Doing well, doing well. Excited to talk about week one
Finally,
NFL football.
that's
We
right.
don't have to talk about preseason football anymore.
And YouTube watchers, you're probably wondering who are these two lovely gentlemen seated below us to talk about the Lions is the Pride Podcast. As always, Tyler, welcome. Pierre, welcome. New to the program. Happy to have you guys.
Thanks for having us
Yeah,
on.
thanks for having us. This is what, year three now that we've collabed
That's
when
true.
I
when
think
the
Yeah.
Lions
so.
and Packers play, I think.
And I
Yeah.
Yes.
believe the Lions went 6-0 in those 3 years, if I'm not
Wow.
mistaken.
No, there was one loss. There was
I
that
think it was the
Thanksgiving game.
Oh, it's
Thanksgiving. We
Thanksgiving.
we had that one
You did have
Thanksgiving,
that. That's right.
And
and
Pierre,
then
we
we
were at
lost
that
it.
game. We were at that game,
We
Pierre.
were at that game.
But other than that game, yes, we've had a good history
Yeah.
against these folks.
Since
Very
we've
true.
started the pod, it's been tough sledding against these Detroit Lions. One's pesky, now fearsome. So I guess first things first, let's hop right into it because I think the story of the week is gonna be honestly the edge rushers. If Micah Parsons plays, we're hoping he does. Obviously, the back issue is like for some reason cropping up now. I don't think it'll be an issue. I'm hoping it's not an issue. But then you guys get Aiden Hutchinson back, arguably another top five edge rusher in the NFL. Not even arguably, he just is. How has
Yeah.
he progressed through camp? I guess is he ready for week one? Are we going to see the clash of the edge rushers here?
I'll say this. So the Dolphins came to town, the Texans came to town, and with us, they have this thing called the Hutch rule, where he would just destroy plays, they'd still keep going. Like they wouldn't call the play dead.
So he's back.
Does that answer
No,
your
he is
question?
back.
Yeah,
That answers it.
that answers it. Great. I'm glad Rasheed Walker will have to hold his own this week against one of the top
It's
edge
gonna be a
rushers in
tough
the
one.
NFL. Yeah, I mean, like I
Yeah,
guess. Go ahead, Pierre.
I was gonna say really quickly about
Oh,
Hutch. He's like, he's not one of these. He's not one of the guys to be, I guess, prone to coming back from a big injury. He did it once in college, and now this is gonna be his first time doing it in the NFL. So, for him, it's weird. It's like he gets better after a major injury, and it's like you kind of expect it to be a bit of an adjustment period for players coming off an injury, and that might still be the case. But from what every note that indicates from what we've seen in training camp. He didn't play in the preseason at all, which I don't think he had to play in the preseason. But from what we heard in training camp and those joint practices, especially like what Pierre alluded to versus Miami and Houston, it sounds fully like, they are investing that Aiden Hutchinson is going to be that guy. And everything that they've indicated this offseason is that Aiden Hutchinson is that guy. And, that they are planning for him to be that guy right from the get-go. So, him having all that time to recover since late October, almost a full calendar year now, we're looking at
Oh
it, which
yeah.
is just wild to think about. Um, I think he is more than ready to go, which, there were some rumors, I don't think it was ever going to happen, but if the Lions were to hype to make the Super Bowl, like he was really pushing to play in that game. I think it's almost better that we didn't make the Super Bowl and then we didn't have to push him. And now he got a almost full calendar year of recovery. And, now he'll be ready to go in this game, week one versus Green Bay.
was that something like was obviously his absence is always so huge? Was it really felt throughout the end of the season last year, like against the game against like the Commanders, for example? Was that
Yeah,
something
man.
palpable that was really missing? Was the absolute force he he has in the backfield? Then I guess what does it mean now to have him coming into the season this year versus just going in with like Marcus Davenport or Al Qadim Muhammad? Like obviously him being ready is critical to the Lions.
Absolutely. If you look at his numbers last year, he had 7.5 sacks in 5 games, led the league in pressures, led the league in pass rush win rate. He was on his way to becoming the defensive player of the year.
one Hundred
He
percent.
was having a
Yeah.
historic season, and they said even this is quote like from the coaches. They said he even looks better than he did last year. Um,
Wonderful.
so yeah, it's exciting. It's
Yeah, I mean,
exciting.
it was for sure a loss. Like I said, it happened in October, so it was like we had to fight a pretty long portion of the season without him. It was in that Dallas game, and like ever since his loss, it's like that pass rush and just defensive line in general was was never the same, and you expect that to be, but it's like it really felt missing, and it's like you mentioned Marcus Davenport. He got hurt too early in the season.
Yeah.
He got knocked out week 3, and he had to miss the whole season. So like the two guys that you expected to at least take a large majority of the chunks at the edge rusher spot were not there for 70% of the season. It's crazy. So, hopefully better health for both those guys this year. And that's our expecting starting, defensive end core going into the season. So definitely. But I want to flip the question to you guys now because you guys got a pretty good edge rusher, tandem right now with Micah Parsons, him coming here. First off, let's talk about that deal. What are the initial thoughts of acquiring Micah Parsons? And then we'll kind of connect to the game. Do you expect Micah Parsons to play in this game versus Detroit?
Go ahead, Jordan.
Good. Obviously, it's Micah Parsons. The Packers haven't had a player of his caliber since Charles Woodson, and that was still like more of, hey, this is a resurgence. Like Charles Woodson had a dip period. Micah Parsons, the trajectory that he's been on is like what I know Adam Schefter posted about it of like there are only two players that have the level of sacks that Micah Parsons had in through the first 4 years. It's compared to Reggie White. So it's like we're talking about that level of player. But for the Packers, like we've been waiting on edge rushers to blossom. Like Rashawn Gary is a good player, but he hasn't vaulted into all pro. He made the Pro Bowl last year, but we were just like, that's a fake Pro Bowl. It was just like, oh, that guy's not just doesn't want to go to Hawaii or Orlando or was. But we've been waiting for other guys that they've invested with high level draft picks like Devontae Wyatt, Lucas Van Ness. Go on down the line like I guess Kingsley Enagbare, he's more of a deep draft pick, but like they've invested so much in trying to get a pass rush, and they haven't had that. So bringing in a one man pass rush onto himself could be, as we talked about, reacting to the trade like a rising tide that lifts all boats. I think going to week 1, this back thing, like it's not out of the blue. I think a lot of people just swept under the rug because it was this standout between Micah Parsons, his agent, and Jerry Jones. We just thought it was like, this is nothing. This is a nothing burger. The fact that they are specifically saying that he's going to get an injection at the precise lumbar in his vertebrae gives off the impression that it's pretty serious enough. I think if anything, it probably would be like a pitch count. Like we could probably see him for like 25 to 30 snaps, maybe more extreme if the game's, it's definitely going to be hotly contested. So I think that's it. And plus too, we're not even just that. He hadn't really practiced at all. He's got to get into his rhythm. I don't think the Packers are notoriously conservative with injuries, with guys trying to come back into health. Rashawn Gary, when he was coming back from his torn ACL a couple years ago, it took probably about week 8 to get like full starting level snaps. So I think 25 to 30 is probably a good pitch count number, and even then, that might be a little generous. It might be dependent on like what the game looks like.
Yeah. It's wild how important this game is already off the bat. It's like these are the two division contenders, or at least the betting favorites, the Lions, and now the Packers are the betting favorite, which is a little weird now because I haven't been used to that the last
a little
years.
funny.
But, a little funny. Yeah, it's like that's how I was used to when growing up, but now it's like I got used to being the division crowns. But now you guys are bringing some competition here, so it's just crazy how important this game is week 1, and I am curious to see what Micah's snap count is going to be. But what were you saying, Numac?
The Twitter doctors told me he'd be fine, so I'm believing all of the comma MDs on the everything app. But no, like I think it's probably a little option A, a little option B. If he probably does have some sort of injury to his back, and like they were probably overplaying it so that he'd have to be in training camp and throughout his contract negotiations with Dallas. And I think it can also just be like something they handle throughout the season. Like if you have a back injury, you don't push the sled above your head during practice. Like that's got to be the worst thing for with all that weight going directly down to your spine. So I don't think he'll miss, but like Jordan said, I think he'll be on a pitch count, which any snap of Micah Parsons, I'll just be very happy to see.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be interesting. I mean, what was like the thought when you saw the tweet pop up on your phone? Is it like something like it was kind of in a dream, or like
I
what
wasn't
did it
even
feel like?
I wasn't even looking at my phone. Like I wasn't looking at Twitter. I got a text from someone that said, "Holy shit!" I was like, "What? Like what? Like what's the deal?" And I just saw like all of it start to pop off, and just elation is probably the right word. Like, are you guys aware of like the saga that was the Tuesday night drama with the dog Ricky Scoops?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was
And John Kuhn
tweeting
like
Micah
Micah
Parsons.
freaking Parsons, and everybody's like, "What?" Like, and John Kuhn, like,
He works for the
for the record,
Packers. Yeah,
he works for the Packers, so it's like that's not coming out of nowhere,
right.
Right.
you know?
And so like Tuesday, I should have been getting early sleep, but I wasn't. I was just on my phone pulling down
Fair
the
enough.
Twitter machine. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
Like the start of NBA free agency level.
Yes.
Of,
Pretty
like,
much.
Yeah.
yeah,
When it used to be, now it stinks. But yeah, regardless,
yeah.
keep
Yeah,
going.
exactly. And I was just like, okay, come on. Like, when's it coming? And so for it to come, not Wednesday, but then like out of the blue on Thursday. I should say out of the blue. Like,
Yeah.
Bill Huber, one of the Packers reporters, said that Dallas was listening to offers Thursday morning. Schefter then reported that Thursday afternoon, and then it happened. So I was like, a ramp up within like 8 hours of the day. It's like, wow, what a
That's
bizarre
not.
day.
That's honestly the thing is that it was kind of shocking how much uh, an anonymous Twitter account and like local beat reporters were
Yeah,
on it and reporting it ahead of. That's why, like, I mean, we talked about it like previously, but it's like when it happened, I mean, I was like, that's crazy. Like, of course, like it's confirmed and all that stuff, but it wasn't. It wouldn't have been the same if it just came like a bolt out of the blue. You know what I mean? Like you just like look at your phone, like, oh, it just happened. Like it just like that. There was kind of like this wind up that like it feels like this is happening, and yet we didn't hear about it from Adams. And it's like Thursday at like 4 like
Right.
Central Time, like as a weird just like we're preparing for the start of the NFL season. It's like a
right.
week out.
We
It
ta-
was it was
Right.
odd.
we talked
Yeah.
about it on
Yeah.
our roster cut down. They're like, we might be back and talk to you guys this week for like a Parsons trade. We doubt it, but we might be. That's how we ended our podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's fair. It wasn't like one of those like Andrew Luck moves where he just retires out the blue,
Right.
or we've seen in other sports too, where it's just like something you just never expected. Or prime example, Luka Doncic getting traded, right? Like that was just something
Yeah,
completely out of the blue. That I guess that.
that's
Well, I think for the national media though, that Michael Parsons was like that. I didn't really see it coming. And you guys maybe saw because you guys saw some beat reports. I'm not obviously connected with that, but so it was a little bit of shock to me. But I agree with you guys. I could see where it wasn't like completely out of the blue, like wow, this just happened.
yeah, and I think too. I mean, I know yes, I haven't gone around to reading it today, just with busy with work, but now there's like a cascade of all the either hit pieces or let's go inside the trade. So it's like like the reason why the Luka Doncic trade is now like the standard bearer in a lot of ways is because no one had any idea. I mean, Shams Charania had to literally say this is real.
I'm not.
Yeah, it's
I
confirmed he wasn't
haven't been
hacked.
hacked.
Yeah, and it's like, and now it's like a lot of people knew that this is the momentum is getting there, and then it just turns into the news item, then the next wave of how did these two sides get to this point? What does Jerry think of Micah Parsons? What is vice versa? That his agent was on First Take this morning, so it's like it's a very different kind of ball game. I feel like that we're in that I don't necessarily like as much.
Fair enough.
I have a football question, and maybe this might get some of your listeners upset a little, but I'm gonna be honest. Micah Parsons significantly got your pass rush a lot better, but TJ Slaton went to the Bengals. Kenny
Yes.
Clark went to Dallas. You have some unproven in the interior, and Detroit loves to run the ball. I know you got those linebackers, but those two guys took on double teams and opened a lot up for those linebackers. I personally think your rush defense got weaker. Now, I'm not like, this is just me watching them. So, like, what do the Packers do? Who starts on the interiors? And is your Stackhouse at Carl Brooks?
No,
Is it
it'll be Devontae Wyatt. He's their fourth year, right, Jordan? Fourth year?
Yeah, fourth year.
Fourth year defensive tackle. He was in the same class that Quay Walker was in, both Georgia guys. A guy that I've like loved having on the team. Like coming his rookie year, he was my guy. Sophomore year, I'm like he's set to break out. That didn't happen, and then it just hasn't really gone well with him. But last year he was doing really well, and then he gets hurt, and it just kind of threw off all of his momentum. And so now he's kind of being thrust into that starting position, that Kenny Clark role, to where he really needs to step up. Like, I guess in order, it'll be Devontae Wyatt, Carl Brooks, Colby Wooden. They drafted, is it Warren Brinson is his name, right?
Warren
Yeah.
Brinson.
And then
Yep.
Nazir Sakos, Big Sleepy, is was an undrafted free agent that made the team. He's probably one of the last guys to make the team, but he like has shown promise too. And so you're like that is for sure one of like I'll say the weak points of the defense is that D tackle just the inside of the D line is unproven at best because we've seen
Yeah.
Devontae Wyatt be able to do it in spurts but never for sustained time. Carl Brooks and Colby Wooden haven't really been starting games, but each of them have been getting work at nose tackle throughout the preseason and training camp. Then you have two rookies as your fourth and fifth guys, and
Yeah,
so
Right.
it it'll be like up the middle. Jameer Gibbs, Dave Montgomery might have a lot of success, but
Oh, yeah.
I'm having reserved hopes that Jeff Halfley can scheme up some ways to stop it with Edrin Cooper and Quay Walker kind of plugging holes where they can, but it's going to take more than scheme to stop Jameer Gibbs and Dave Montgomery.
Losing Kenny
Yeah.
Clark is not insignificant.
No, like we talked.
He even had the thing is he had a down year last year, and their run defense is as best it's been in a very long time. Like they gave up some, especially the Lions. They gave up some big rushing games, but the Packers' Achilles heel when were trying to win with Rodgers, in the last half of his time in Green Bay, or honestly, even before then, they would just get gashed by these huge running games. And it doesn't help when it's like the more mobile the quarterback, the worse it is for, I mean, really any opposing defense.
Right.
But the Packers defense really struggled. So even when Kenny Clark is not even at his best, like they found ways to plug up, TJ Slayton too. You mentioned that's an unheralded kind of loss that we are so far removed from talking about, but it's not going into the season. It's going to be a different change, especially when he was pretty much a run support specialist in that way. So yeah, like as much as we are giddy about Micah Parsons, it's like we'll feel it in different ways than we probably anticipate going into Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like it's one of those moves where you kind of mentioned it, like Parsons didn't practice all offseason, right? Or like at least all camp, right? And this could be in a little bit of an adjustment period for it. So like maybe not something to get like completely high expectations up week one, but like this could be something that comes around in week 3, week 4, or something around that time, right? Like right when you kind of get adjusted to Micah Parsons gets adjusted to the defense because that's an adjustment period. Because missing camp and not practicing with the team all camp and kind of being thrown like we don't really see this in the NFL, honestly. Like getting thrown in a
No.
week before the NFL, a superstar getting traded like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how long the adjustment takes and how he adjusts. Which I mean, it's Micah Parsons. It'll work in some capacity, but like you said, there are some holes now there in the interior. And speaking on this matchup, that's something the Lions could take advantage of, and like you said, they have taken advantage of in these last couple of years when they've had David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs.
Yeah. So another question now. We talked about your friends. Now let's go to your back end, right? So you guys have Keyshawn Nixon. You added Nate Hobbs. Looks like Bullard is sliding in the nickel. That's my guess.
Mm-hmm.
First question is Hobbs healthy? Is he going to play?
He practiced this week, so I'd imagine he's playing, but he did return to practice. What's today? Today's Tuesday. He practiced on Monday, so I'd imagine he's playing.
All right, so my question is to you. I think this is also maybe the biggest weakness on the Packers roster is their secondary, a lot of unproven guys. How do you guys feel about that?
It was a point of contention when the only cornerback they took in the draft was 7th round pick Micah Robinson. out of
Who they
out of Tulane, a guy that
they signed to the 53-man roster, and then the next day they cut him for Nick Neiman,
and then
their special teams edition.
yeah.
Oh, is this the
Yeah.
Neiman discussion we had before the pod?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Orion's brother of Ben Neiman. For anyone here, I had no idea he had a brother. If you guys remember Ben Neiman, I mean, he was here last year, but not a significant.
Special teams guy, yeah.
Yeah, not a significant star, but
But
that was interesting.
But going through like the draft, and when Jordan and I were doing like our draft previews, I was like, Johnny Barrett would be a good pick in the first round. Benjamin Morrison from Notre Dame would be a good pick in the second round if he falls. Um, I can't remember the fella's name from Eastern Carolina that the Cowboys drafted. Siobhan Rebel
Rebel.
Jr. Yeah, Siobhan Rebel
Yeah.
Jr. Like I really liked his tape. Like there were guys. I think he's actually drafted by the Cardinals. There were guys that were available for them to address corner, because I wasn't big on going out and starting Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine for the sole purpose that Keyshawn has been a slot specialist for the majority of his time here. When Jair and Carrington Valentine were there, Carrington Valentine's a 7th round pick, and he's been playing very well, but like that talent profile just isn't there. And so I think they're planning on having Nate Hobbs get like a majority of the snaps, whether he plays outside or not. But like Nate Hobbs, primarily a slot guy in Vegas. Like they have one true outside corner, and it's Carrington Valentine. And it was such a problem for them that they converted Bull Melton, who was the receiver the past 3 years, to cornerback, and he made the team. Like that's not great for depth, but he did it well enough that they keep him. He's a great special teamer. I think that's why he'll get a majority of his snaps. But the cornerbacks are in like prove it mode for me. Like I think Keyshawn Nixon can handle it. Like I think he's a good corner. I don't know if he can rise to the level of being able to guard Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Justin Jefferson, DJ Moore, like all these guys just in the division. Never mind Jamar Chase in 5 weeks. Never mind Terry McLaurin a week from Thursday. Like they're like he's a good corner, but there's just a lot of great receivers out there that could probably give him issues. The part of the secondary that I'm not worried about is safety. A position long troublesome for the Packers. Now has Xavier McKinney, Evan Williams, and Javon Bullard really, really playing well. And so hopefully those guys can kind of nullify as much like big play damage as they can. But safeties are easier to look off than it is to just go against a corner that just isn't up to snuff when it goes against the best receivers.
Now is Bullard the nickel, or is who's like the nickel right now? Because I looked at the depth chart, they had Bullard there.
Yeah, I think it's Bullard. They put out their unofficial depth chart.
Oh yeah, they did.
And I think it was Bullard, but it also could very well be Evan Williams, who's their other safety, their third year safety.
Second
year safety. He was a rookie last year.
Yeah. I'll try and find it quick and I'll let you know.
But yeah, I would say like they definitely don't have a shutdown corner. And really, like as much as Jair has always been penciled in as that, I mean he just wasn't healthy for the last 3 years. So that unreliability led to that decision of cutting him. And I believe hasn't been fully healthy in Ravens training camp either, so might be vindicated there. But it feels like a team defense of like for their outside guys, where it's like we're gonna build it on. Can we keep, off the explosive plays, that kind of level of secondary, and then hopefully, their estimation is that Xavier McKinney is just gonna go sideline to sideline and try to sniff out like, guy going down the sideline like a Jameson Williams or stuff like that of just like let's keep it shelled out as much as we can, limit explosive plays, and then limit damage that way.
Right.
It looks like it'll be Evan Williams or I think Nate Hobbs. They have Keyshawn and Carrington as cornerbacks 1-2, but those are outside guys. So I imagine Nate Hobbs is their first slot guy.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Pierre, question for you. So obviously Lions have had a lot of shakeup on this offensive line, right? With a new interior essentially, almost, right?
Yeah.
what is the game plan when you're playing this Green Bay Packers defense when you look at them from the outside, and then I think these guys could chip in and maybe they'll give you some insight.
I'd leave Sewell one-on-one, whoever it is. They're probably going to put Parsons on Decker. I'd have a guy chip or whatever. But the interior-wise, I'm not as worried about Graham Glasgow. We know Frank Ragnow retired, but I don't know if you guys know, but when Frank has missed games, Graham has stepped in, and he's played center before, and he's been fine. Like,
I was gonna
it's
ask.
not like,
One of my questions was like, how is he? But if he's stepped in and done fine, that's good for you guys.
he's like not top, like he's not top 5, but he's maybe like above average. Like he's fine. Like it's not like a major concern. Long term, maybe it is, but short term, it's not. Obviously, Christian Mahogany started 2 games last year. He was outstanding in both of those games. And then Tate Rowledge, I loved him coming out of college. I was so hyped they got him. So this is a guy who's played right guard most of his college career, and he's going to play right guard with Detroit this year. So
looks like an offensive lineman. Like he fits the profile.
Yeah, I mean, this guy I loved him coming out of Georgia. And once they took him, Tyler knows, we talked on a lot, me and him. Once they took him, we were so stoked. We were lit. So,
it was a big position of need. And even like, we didn't know the certainty of Frank Ragnow draft day because he was still on the team at the draft day, right? He didn't end up retiring until May, right?
It didn't come out publicly until then, but he did let the team know that he wasn't 100% all in. So
right, yeah. If you heard like some of their Inside the Den episodes that they did, you could hear Sheila kind of even like references like, oh, he could play center too, right? And he's playing guard, which I think is his more natural position anyways, which is better for the team. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, right, to see how this new offensive line looks, right? Glasgow has stepped in at center, but now it's a big sample size. Like he's going to have to do it for 17 games now. Mahogany now is going to be the starter going to the year, and he looked good in the sample size that we saw last year, but it was a small sample size. So now he's going to be, thrust into that role, and then, Ratledge too. So I think there's a lot of optimism here, but there is going to be some questions, and it's going to be interesting to see how it looks week 1 against the Green Bay Packers because, it is newer to a certain extent, and losing a guy like Frank Ragnow is not something you should just shrug over. Like, it's not an easy loss at all. But
no, it's not.
But like Pierre's alluded to, Graham Glasgow has done it before and has been fine, but it's obviously not Frank Ragnow. So it's going to be interesting to see how it holds up for all season long.
Especially in the running game. Frank was just a monster in the running game. They're going to miss that a lot. I mean, he was a monster. So
and that's the Lions' identity is like they want to get the offense going from the run game, and then that sets up the passing game. And that's what made Jared Goff really successful here so far in Detroit, and what made him successful when he was on the Rams. So it's something that I don't think the Lions want to go away from. And I know you guys were curious before we started the show, like, how's the new offensive coordinator going to look here with Johnny Morton now here as the offensive coordinator taking over for Ben Johnson, who traded us and went to Chicago, but that's a different story on a different day. I think Peter could agree with me here, but I think it's going to be a lot of the similar stuff where he's going to want to get that run game going and then eventually get that pass game going. But here, I know you could probably add something here. What is the difference between a guy like Ben Johnson and John Morton as far as getting an offense going?
Johnny Mo wants to be more aggressive down the field, more vertical. They want to get Jamison Williams a lot more involved this year. They're expecting J-Mo to break out this year. They went out and drafted Isaac Tesla. I don't know if you guys heard of him, the preseason hype with him. He's been a great camp, great preseason.
Well, they traded Tim Patrick.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that might be the biggest vote of confidence that they think he's going to walk in and earn a role.
My Tim Patrick stock is in the sewer. I was a big fan of him in Denver.
Tim Patrick for you?
I was just about to say there should not.
I was a big fan of him in Denver. I stashed him on my fantasy team for like 3 years straight, and I'm like, he's good. And then he gets in a good offense and they get shipped to Jacksonville to die.
Now talking with you guys, and like Pierre just mentioned Isaac Tesla, I'm like, that guy just screams Packer. I don't know why. He's from Michigan. He's but Isaac Tesla just screams Packer, and I'm glad he's on our side of the ball. It just like screams like that Jordy Nelson.
We'll take him off your hands, dog. We need some guys that can catch the ball.
Jake Kumro, a white wide receiver, is very much a Packers. Jeff Janis.
Yes, like I just think of a white receiver. I usually think of Packers and Patriots. and now we have one of them on our team.
Bill Schrader, way back when.
Yes.
Yeah. So another thing too that Mark's going to add too, they want to get Gibbs more involved in the passing game as well. They want to have 2 backs on the field at the same time, Montgomery and Gibbs. and they want to like kind of just confuse offensive or defensive coordinators with that. So less of the gimmicky stuff, the trick stuff. You're still going to see some of those, but more like we're just going to like our best guys are going to be your best guys. It's more that kind of ball instead of like I'm going to do a trick here, trick there, whatever. It's more my guys are going to beat your guys, and I'm going to find better ways to get them open and use them.
And
Yeah.
like
I'm
Johnny Morton
excited.
coming from Denver, coming from Bo Nix and that high flying offense last year, like I'd be encouraged. Obviously, he was with you guys a few years ago, right? I think 22 to
He
22
24.
or
helped,
22.
he helped
Yeah.
build that offense we
Yeah,
currently have, and then he brings Ada
exactly.
Shaw with him also from Denver, and they also were together. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm like the Ben Johnson stuff aside, like in the history that he always had those trick plays. The truth of the matter is, like, I think you said it perfectly, Pierre. Our best guys are gonna beat your best guys, and the Detroit best guys are really flipping good. Like
Yeah.
the offense is high flying. There isn't. I can't even think of like the first spot on the Detroit offensive side of the ball, like the specialist. And I'm like, I'd be worried about like if it gets down to that guy, it's probably whoever your third running back is, because like
Yeah.
I'm
he's
worried
pretty
about
reliable though. Craig Reynolds pretty reliable
exactly
too. He's
that's the
literally an
thing.
RB3. That's what he is. Yeah.
That's the thing is like it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, worried about him. JMO, worried about him. Sam Laporta, worried about him. Gibbs, Montgomery, Goff. Like all these guys, like you guys just have so much talent there. It takes a total team defense to beat the Lions essentially. And
Right.
like that's why you guys have been a powerhouse the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Well, and
I'm
sorry. I was just gonna say too, like it's not even just the Ben Johnson at all. It's Aaron Glenn obviously going to New York. There's just when I listen to more general national NFL pods, it does feel this utmost importance on the assistants rather than 2, 3 years ago when the Lions were on the come up before the last 2 years specifically. We weren't talking about Ben Johnson that way. We weren't talking about Aaron Glenn that way. Maybe Aaron Glenn when they were starting to make like that midseason turnaround in 22. But part of it is like it ultimately just goes back to the culture that Campbell has brought to the table. And it's like if he did it with these guys, what makes you think he can't do it again with someone else that he's not just bringing these assistants out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One fun fact about John Morton is Denver really wanted him back, and then Ben Johnson also wanted him on his staff, and he chose Detroit. So he was in demand.
Interesting.
He was in demand. This just came out over the weekend, actually. So he was in demand. And then Tyler, go ahead. You're talking about Glenn.
Yeah, like you kind of mentioned, Jordan, it's like they didn't just grab these coordinators out of nowhere. Like they have familiarity with the team, and most of these players, especially our defensive coordinator Calvin Shepard, who has taken over. And yes, it's gonna be his first time ever calling plays. Like he was just in the league 2018. He was on the Lions roster in 2018, and now he's a defensive coordinator in 2025, which is like not that long ago.
That's a fast
But
track.
yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
definitely a fast track. But when you listen to Calvin Shepard talking, and we've kind of thought this for the last 2 years, as far as our pod, at least me, Malcolm, and Pierre for sure, is like he is very, very smart, and like we knew he was going to be a future defensive coordinator, and I'm glad that his first gig is going to be here because I think he did learn a lot under Aaron Glenn, and I think Aaron Glenn being here for an extra year than people expected because he could have easily taken a job at last year's coaching cycle.
Yeah.
Just for him to have another year under Aaron Glenn and be the linebackers coach, um, I think the adjustment's going to go really, really well. And at the end of the day, coordinators and coaches are very, very important. But I think what's more important is the players on the field, and something that's really good for both sides of the Lions. And I'll even say on the defense side of the ball is like they have a lot of continuity. Like they've all played with each other for a long time. They have a lot of veteran experience. Like it's not just going to be Kelvin Shepard throwing in with a bunch of rookies and saying, "Hey, go figure it out with the contending team." Like, no, you still have Aiden Hutchinson. You still have DJ Reader. You now have DJ Reed in the secondary. Terran Arnold taking another step in his career. I know they're really high on him. Chef was really talking really highly on him this week on Global Quinn's podcast. Alex Angeloni still here. Like they just have a lot of continuity, a lot of guys that are still here. And at the end of the day, yes, you lose two big coordinators. That's going to be an adjustment, but players make plays, and they did lose some players, but for the most part, they got to keep around this core players that won 15 games for them last year.
Right.
So I think that's going to be really helpful for both John Morton on the offense side of the ball and Calvin Shepard on the defense side of the ball.
One thing with Shep, expect more blitzes, more aggressive. He said he's gonna be more aggressive, and then like Tyler said, he said Terrion Arnold looks like a CB1. So I think Lions have two CB1s.
Another guy that I wish the Packers would have taken at quarterback. Like I've been
when we were talking about
preaching
corners
corner for years in the draft. It was
It
Cooper DeJean, Terry Arnold, like all of them. I was just like, they Packers should draft them in the first round. And then they just don't. And then it's a problem.
Didn't we trade up in front of you guys to take Terrion Arnold?
Probably.
I believe so. There was. Is that 24?
I know Branch for sure. We traded with you guys
Together.
get
Yes.
Brian
Yeah,
Branch.
thanks for Brian Branch, by the way. We
Again,
appreciate
guess
that.
what? Guess what? Another guy I liked in the draft.
Everybody got scared off. Oh, he had a bad RES or whatever
Yeah.
score it was. It was like, he's just a really good football player. Why were you overthinking this?
He plays fast, man. With a 40 time. You watch his tape, the guy's one of the fastest players on
it's
tape.
crazy.
It's one of the biggest overthinks in the recent NFL, honestly, in the draft.
Yeah.
Tyler
Yeah.
knows he was a top 10
Oh, yeah.
player for me. When we got him in the second, I was going nuts.
Right.
Yeah, that was insane.
To like help combat, I think, like what the powerhouse of this offense is just speed and being able to like get to the edge and fly, right? I think what I'm most excited about seeing is how, again, if Micah Parsons plays, but how Edgerrin Cooper can really impact that running game and just kind of roam in the middle of the field. A guy that really came out in the second half of the year last year, and his sideline to sideline speed is incredibly good. And so I think like if there's a guy to watch, and spoiler alert for you, for Tyler and Pierre, at the end I'm going to ask you for a guy to watch on both sides or on each team and score predictions. But like I think that's my guy to like if Edgerrin Cooper plays well and can be stuffing holes, I think this game is going to go very well for the Packers. If he's getting washed out of blocks and isn't really a factor, I think I'd have a chance to get away from him.
I think Cooper is going to be a superstar in this league. I'm really high on that kid. I know he's on your team, but that kid, I think that kid has a lot of potential. He hasn't reached it, but I think if he ever reached it, he's going to be a special player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I want to flip it on the other side of your guys' offense because we haven't talked about them yet. But look at the Green Bay Packers finally drafted a wide receiver in the first round, man.
Like it was a WWE entrance from Mark Murphy.
Yeah.
Like
look at you guys.
I'm retiring. my last hoorah is drafting Matthew Golden in the first round.
Well, let's talk about him because I know a lot about your offense. Like we know Josh Jacobs, we know Jaden Reed, we know Tucker Kraft, we know your offensive line. Let's hear about your rookie. What have you guys heard? What have you guys seen from him? What is the expectation year one for Matthew Golden?
Go ahead, Jordan.
He might have to be the savior of this wide receiver. And that's not necessarily what we've seen, which has been good. Like the Seahawks, was that the last? Yeah, that was the last preseason game. He had this one, it was like a 39-yard catch. Like he was the lead receiver of the game because preseason stats are crazy. But he just breaks through with separation. He just has a great nose for the ball, can run his 40 time is crazy. He's easily the fastest wide receiver, which is
faster than Christian Watson.
Yeah, saying something when they have Christian Watson, who is perpetually injured. But he already walks into a wide receiver room that has a lot of questions. Doesn't help that they have a lot of injuries right now. Like Jaden Reed, we were doing a pod last week, and there was a thing that came out that, he's going to try to play with a Jones fracture, which...
I heard about that, yeah.
Yeah, that sidelined Kevin Durant for like half a season way back when. So that's not great. Dontavian Wicks pretty much missed a lot of 75% of camp.
I think he missed all but like 2 weeks of camp.
Yeah,
Is
calf
he in
injury.
or out this week?
They are practicing him.
Yeah, he's practicing, but he had a calf injury, so I would not be surprised if he didn't play.
Okay.
Dobbs is healthy. Christian Watson on the PUP list, so he's a non-factor.
And then Dobbs, right?
Yeah, Dobbs is healthy, so he's one of the lone untouched, unscathed people. Savion Williams is another rookie wide receiver that didn't he played or practiced 1 or 2 weeks.
He had a concussion,
and then had a concussion,
then a soft tissue injury, I think. But their only two healthy receivers are, or so they have more, but the two ones that matter are Dobbs and Matthew Golden.
Yeah.
Jaden Reed's going to play through his fracture. I'm not thrilled about that idea.
No.
Who knows if Dontavian Wicks plays? But then, once you go further down the line, it's Malik Heath, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
And so, it's gonna be a problem. But I think Jordan and I talked about this on our last pod. If anything, the injuries to Jaden Reed, and if he's like hampered or slow to get a break, just not getting open, if Dante Williams doesn't play, this kind of forces the issue that Tucker Kraft just has to become one of their better pass catchers. We saw it last year where he like has games where he looks like one of the best tight ends in football, and then he just doesn't get the ball. like, and then they said out of post game or out of post season exit interviews, uh, that they need to get Tucker Kraft more involved, but that he should be a focal part of the offense. I was always hesitant to believe that because that should have been done years ago, like at the end of his rookie season,
Right.
during the middle of last year. But now I think it's going to happen purely on necessity. They need guys who can catch the ball, and currently it's Matthew Golden, Tucker Kraft, and Romeo Dobbs because Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks led the league in drops last year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
by necessity, Tucker Kraft just should be a focal point of this offense, and hopefully we see the beginning of that come Sunday.
Now I got a question. I've liked this player. I liked him when he was coming out. He hasn't really played that well, but
Musgrave.
I'm expecting you guys to go a lot in 12 personnel, right? 2 tight end sets, especially with all those injuries at wide receiver. Maybe you guys want to run the ball.
Maybe
Why hasn't he worked out? What's the issue with him?
Injuries. The biggest. He
He's
was
talented, man.
I know, and it's one of those things where like they didn't get off to a hot start in 23, and that's when we saw him the most. He honestly, this is gonna sound weird, but his first injury, he caught a ball and then landed on it, so he just kind of like it looked like the ball just like exploded under him, and it was some weird. He had a lacerated kidney. Yeah, so it's just like,
Wow.
that you don't hear about that
And-
kind of injury every day.
and he wanted to play with it.
Yeah.
He's a psycho.
And then
That's when Tucker,
last year,
that's when Tucker Kraft broke out too. Like his rookie season is like
yeah,
Luke Musgrave was hurt. Tucker Kraft came in, was doing very well. I think Musgrave
Right.
was out like the rest of the season except for like week 18, and then
he might have played the 49ers playoff game too.
yeah, and so but
Yeah.
then I think last year he had an ankle injury if I'm not mistaken that kept him on a few games, and so he's kind of just been like half snake bitten, half when he is on the field he isn't like impressive. So I think it's like if there's a season for it to come together, it would really be cool if it was this one for Luke Musgrave.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about this. I want to go into the O-line. Tyler mentioned, but I just want to go a little into the O-line because I know there's been a little shuffling there. I remember Jenkins was a guard. Now he got moved to center. Aaron Banks comes in from the Niners.
Mhm.
But I think the two weakest spots, I think the two weakest spots, though, in my opinion, are left tackle and right guard. Is that fair on the
Yeah.
O-line?
It's fair, but I think when you talk about weakest points, it's the weakest of a strong group. Like Zach
Oh,
Tom,
100%. Yeah.
Zach Tom, Elton Jenkins. I'm
Those are
not as
great
high on
players.
Aaron Banks. Like I'm not super high on him.
It was a weird deal
It was
when
a
that
weird
came
deal.
through.
But like,
What do you mean by weird? Explain it.
I think he was.
We weren't really anticipating them going after an offensive lineman in free agency and signing him to that.
Especially because they drafted Jordan Morgan,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
and so like they give all this money to left guard and Aaron Banks, a guy that hasn't really like been super duper impressive when he's with the Niners, and so yeah, like I would say that that right guard is Sean Ryan. He had a really good year last year when he wasn't platooning with Jordan Morgan. Like once they were Jordan Morgan and Sean Ryan platooned at right guard for the first I think 6 to 8 weeks or so, however long it was, and
Somewhere
then
like that.
somewhere along those lines, and they both looked like okay. And then Jordan Morgan had a shoulder injury that ended his season, and then from there Sean Ryan looked really good. And so Sean Ryan in a contract year, hopefully he like keeps that momentum. Rasheed Walker, like a 7th-round pick, but a 7th-round pick that has done very well outside like left tackle. Like I think if they don't sign Micah Parsons and if maybe they go a different route with Jordan Morgan, Rasheed Walker probably gets another deal from the Packers because
Okay.
he's that good. He's going to get a way bigger contract than you think he's going to be going to in free
Right.
agency.
Yeah, just based on
Yeah.
the market.
And
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
like they took Jordan Morgan in the first round. They put equity into him, and Rasheed Walker beat him up for that spot.
Yeah. Something I'm curious too is like I look at this as a good matchup in this game specifically is the Lions run defense that's really been really good since I would say when they got kind of resurged in 2022 has been the run defense. And your running back, Josh Jacobs, that's going to be a matchup to look out in this game. But for the Lions aspect or point of view, no William McNeil in this game. That something you
That's
guys
right.
have seen a lot. He's going to miss a solid portion of the season, right? Now they're throwing in rookie Tyler Williams, who they drafted in the first round. He's going to be a day one starter. And then DJ Reader is a guy they've been talking really, really highly about this offseason. He was a guy they brought in last year, had to miss week one, was dealing with some injuries kind of all year a little bit. This year seems like he's healthy. Dan Campbell was really, really high on him. He pointed him out in his press conference, I believe today or yesterday. So that's a measure I'm really curious to see because, like you said, offensive line in Green Bay really, really good. Running back really, really good. And Josh Jacobs had a really good year for you guys. I'm interested to see how this Lions run defense is going to fare against playing your offensive line and playing Josh Jacobs specifically. I think that's one match to keep an eye out for.
I mean, I'll say this. When you have two big guys that are each over 310, 315 pounds in the middle, it's
Yeah.
hard to run in the middle. And then you have
And then they
Hutch,
signed Roy
who's
Lopez too.
Roy Lopez is like their backup in case one of those guys gets hurt, right? Good depth. And then Marcus Davenport, his strength is setting the edge. His power, he's really good at that. And then Hutch is a do-it-all player. He does everything. So it's going to be hard to run on Detroit, but maybe you can get a big run or something. I don't know, but it's really hard. You mentioned who's a player that's maybe under the radar, not a lot of people talk about, but is like a silent killer. So it's Amik Robertson, I think. I think Tyler might agree with that from the
Yeah,
nickel.
he was phenomenal last year. I mean, it was more of when he moved to the outside with Carlton's injury, but he was just a really, really steady player all year for us last year and almost kind of a heartbeat to this defense. Like, when he went down in that Commanders game, that playoff game, what was it? It was an arm injury. I don't remember the exact arm injury, but whatever. He goes down early in that game, and it kind of felt like our defense. Not to say it would have changed the result of the game, but like it really felt like that heart of the defense was really gone once Amik Robinson went down. So I agree with Pierre. He's not a guy that's really mentioned a lot around, outside of Lions media, but definitely a really underrated player that is going to start for this Lions. You're going to see a lot of him, especially when they go into that nickel coverage.
I mean, he's 5'9". I forgot how much he weighs, but the guy plays like he's 6'3".
Jeez.
Yeah.
You're going to see him in the running game. He's going to make plays in the running game. He's really physical. He's great in the running game. Yeah, he's just a guy that like I've always liked too since he was in college. So
Yeah, and another one too is not really necessarily an underrated guy, but more stepping into a role, I think, to be that linebacker one for the Lions. That's been Alex Anzalone, but I think it's going to now be Jack Campbell.
Oh yeah.
I think this is their guy. And you really saw it last year when Anzalone was down, but I think now with the full off season and them not paying Anzalone and like he's going to play and everything, but like they are banking, I think, Jack Campbell to be that guy, like, that captain that's going to be their middle linebacker for 10 plus years. Like they drafted him really high, and that's not something you really see in today's NFL as much. So, like that's a guy I'm really excited to see this year for him. This is what year three now for Jack Campbell,
Yeah.
yeah,
and
year
that's
three.
Because
and
they
that's
took
Pierre,
Gibbs in the first, Campbell in the second, right?
and then we took,
Yep.
yeah, Laporta and Branch. But yeah, like we always say, me and Pierre, is year three is usually that big jump year, right? Like that's the
Yep.
year where
Yep.
guys really take that next step. I'm expecting Jack Campbell to really be that guy this year, and not starting this week for Green Bay.
And he's had a great camp. He actually has the green dot this year. Last year,
Yep.
Anzalone had it to start. Now they gave it to him. He's not a captain. Anzalone's still a captain, but he's still like a leader on that team. It's Campbell called it his defense. So, yeah, it's exciting.
I'm just excited about football, man.
Me too, man.
I'm not a college
I'm
guy.
so sick of.
I was watching
I
college
agree.
football this weekend. Like
Yeah.
I'm not a college guy. Watched it all weekend. I'll see the pigs can get thrown, man. That's all I want to see.
College football is great. It's fun. It's fun to throw it on, but like it's nothing like an NFL Sunday when
No.
you're just throwing on your team on whatever time you're playing, and if they're not playing, you throw on red zone and watch Scott Hansen. Like it just does not get much better than that.
It's awesome, man. is okay. Another question. Jordan Love's been in and out of the lineup. He's been a little injured, banged up here and there. How has he looked in camp? He's been inconsistent throughout the years. How is he? Is he like?
He sprained his thumb, his left thumb. So he
Oh,
that
We
was
saw him first. It was the first preseason game, which was I don't want to say a disaster because it was a preseason game, but it was pretty ugly.
it was really sloppy,
He got hurt on that doing
getting
too much
sacked.
on a play,
Yeah,
and then underwent surgery. The talk from like Brian Gutekunst or like Packers beat reporters that like it wasn't serious enough where he was still practicing, like he's still doing conditioning, but it was not on his non-throwing hand.
yeah,
okay.
But yeah, we just didn't really see much of him during the preseason games, and then the last, I think he just started like fully practicing like late last week.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
So
yeah.
yeah, so that's another kind like
He's been
a
doing
lot of
throws and such, but he hasn't been taking snaps with the ones essentially.
yeah, like it feels the passing game specifically, everybody feels like they're on their own timeline.
Yeah,
And if that's where a lot of kinks are going to be shown, it's going to be that way. I think compared to like what we saw, I mean, when the Packers hosted the Lions last year, I know it was a sloppy, rainy game and the Lions just dominated them, but the Packers weren't able to move the ball at all.
right.
Like it was really just Josh Jacobs, and even then, I think it was like a 24-10 game, and it felt like a 35 to nothing game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that to me is like you know high expectations for Love. There's been a lot of talk of like putting last year behind everybody. It just was like, ooh, and we're trying to get past that, and then immediately after the first preseason game, this happens, and it was kind of just like happened out of nowhere.
yeah.
So that's another thing. Just like it just you don't want those kind of weird injuries that pop up and fester throughout the season, especially how it went last year.
Right. Everyone's like really optimistic about Jordan Love. I guess like I shouldn't say everybody. There's haters that there's people out there in Packers fandom in 2022 wanted Sean Clifford to start over Jordan Love because he looks so good in the
That's
preseason.
crazy.
Yeah,
That is
people are
work
crazy.
right there.
People are crazy. But like a majority of like 95% of the fan base is like excited for Jordan Love just to see what he looks like healthy again because like the second part of 2022 looked really good. Like Toyotathon Jordan Love, like you guys know the meme. Last year he injures his groin or not his groin, his knee week 1 against the Eagles in Brazil. Comes back sooner than he should have. As such, sustains a groin injury, has to play through that most of the year. And even then, he still put up nearly 3,400 yards and 25 touchdowns. Like, he had a better rating last year than he did in 22 or 23. My apologies. And so, like,
Which is crazy.
Which is
Like
crazy.
it did not feel like that in the
I was just gonna
moment.
say
Like
it didn't feel like that. Just like watching it from like
Right.
without numbers.
exactly. But,
Yeah.
like, part of it, too, is, like, I said earlier, you guys, that Dontavia Wicks and Jaden Reed led the league in drops. I think they each had, like, 11. And a lot of them were on some pretty big throws. Like, they had some severely impactful drops that were just not good, that were not conducive to winning. And so if
Yeah.
you just eliminate those drops, he probably has a way better season statistically. We're talking about Jordan Love differently coming into the season, but I'm just excited for him to be healthy. Like, hopefully the thumb isn't going to bother him. Like, where it could bother him is like taking snaps under center, kind of having
Right.
that bottom hand getting the ball. Hopefully that's not a big issue because if you guys remember, Elton Jenkins was the center last year against the Lions
in that Lions game. Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
It was very, very, very ugly,
There
and
was
he
at least
Yeah.
3 or 4 snaps that were
That
either fumbled or
botched
they had to run. Yeah, botch snaps.
or
Yeah.
whatever they
Yeah.
were. And so now he had a few practices with Elton Jenkins to practice their snap and get like on the same page. But at the same time, he hasn't been able to take snaps under center for the last 3 weeks. And so that's like that could be an issue to start the season. I'm like all I wanted to do is just see Jordan Love sling the pigskin because when he throws it with conviction, it's so much fun, man. And now that he has a receiver, Matthew Golden, that can like go up and get it, like I think that's the difference maker. Is that if Matthew Golden, and I said this last pod, and I don't want to do it, but like if he can be a wide receiver 1 this season, I think it'll look really, really great for their offense. The problem is that I don't want to put those expectations on a rookie because
Fair.
you don't get Malik Neighbors, you don't get Brian Thomas Jr., you don't get Justin Jefferson every year. Like you just don't get
Right.
these guys that come in as rookies and light the league on fire. To expect that out of Matthew Golden, which would be really cool, is playing with fire.
Yeah.
So like I've said Love. So is there like, are you guys, there's some concern that maybe Love hasn't really had a lot of work with Matthew Golden? Yeah, there could be like some, not chemistry issues, but maybe some miscommunications here or there, or
Not
there were
really.
there.
Like they've looked pretty good in practice.
Oh, they have. Okay.
Yeah, like they've been slinging it, and I think like Love's accuracy in practice hasn't really taken a hit. At least with what we've seen in like camp videos, and it's camp, so like take it with one of those pink Himalayan salt lamps sized grain of
Right.
salt
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like as far as we should to expect, probably not. I'm sure there'll be a bit of some rust there regardless because it's a rookie coming into an offense, and an offense directed by Matt LaFleur, who expects a lot out of his receivers blocking and just route running in general. But
Right.
if there's one thing that I liked about Matthew Golden in general coming out of college is that his routes were crisp. Like Pierre,
Yeah.
I'm sensing you're a college football guy. If there's one thing that pisses me off watching tape of prospects at receiver, is if you round off your routes, I want nothing to do with you. Like put your foot in the ground and make a damn cut.
Yeah.
And Matthew Golden did that, which made me happy.
Put your foot in the ground and make
I'm
a damn
serious.
cut.
What's the point
I
of running
know.
a post if you're going like a big arc angle?
The Chase Claypool level of route running.
That's right.
Game PTSD, huh?
So you're not a fan of DK Metcalf, huh?
I would have been
Me-
happy with the trade for. I would have been
Yeah, we
happy
probably-
with
yeah.
trade for him.
But when he came out, I'm guessing you didn't really like him because he wasn't.
He was-
what you mentioned.
To be frank, Pierre, I didn't do much draft work before the pod. Like before we
Oh,
started the
okay.
pod in 2022, and before that, I was
okay.
just like total vibes guy in the draft.
All right, I got you.
All I knew what DK Metcalf coming out was that he was absolutely ripped.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was ripped and very.
Ate a pack of Skittles every day.
That's right. That's right.
There you go.
So, anything else you guys want to talk about, or should we get into our little closing segment here of players to watch and the always fun score predictions, the very meaningful score predictions?
I think that's pretty much it. I think we covered everything we need to cover on both sides of the ball. So yeah, let's get into the predictions.
All right, Pierre, who's your guy on for the Packers and the Lions that you want to watch? I guess you guys say you guys say Lions, we'll say Packers, and we'll have 4 total.
Someone that I think could go like have a big game. You're saying?
Difference maker, have a big game, like a guy that could be proven impactful just because of like the game plan, or like week to week.
Yeah.
Sometimes for us, it's like, yeah, we need a big edge rushing game from Rashawn Gary. Like that was a lot of ours last year. But
I
then like
texted this to Tyler last night or the day before. I was like, this is a David Montgomery game. They don't have their 2 interior guys. They left. I love Jahmyr Gibbs, but I think this is more of a game where they're going to run more inside rather than outside. They'll run outside as well. And Gibbs maybe could go off as well, but I feel like this is a David Montgomery game. Just kind of like the weakness on defense in that interior a little. Like we don't really know about the other guys. It's Carl Brooks, Nazir Stackhouse, the Wooten guy. I think I said his name right.
yeah.
So with the like uncertainty there, and Slayton and Clark are 2 big losses in run defense. So I feel like interior wise, running inside, I think David Montgomery could have a big day.
Yeah, Monty's a good pick. This is not our typical Lambeau Field visit. I feel like we usually go to Lambeau later in the year.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
wearing our marshmallow jerseys, and we're gonna have some grass stains. It's gonna be ugly out there. I'm expecting a little bit of that still, but it's gonna be, I think, a little nicer weather than usual when we go to Lambeau Field. But yeah, I think David Montgomery is a great pick, and usually he loves this matchup against the Packers. I'll go on the other side of the ball. We mentioned him earlier. Taron Arnold, still looking for that first interception, right? I think he's going to get that in this game. He's looking for that first interception. I think he
Could
gets on
happen.
this game. Calvin Shepard has been talking very, very highly of him, and he thinks this is going to be the cornerback 1. And you guys mentioned that there is some receivers issue. Let's have one. Golden and Jordan Love not week 1. Maybe not completely on the same page. Let's get his first interception. Taron Arnold is going to be my difference maker on defense.
That could be a fun match to watch. Is just Matthew Gold versus Terry Arnold if they end up lining up from across one another.
That would be
Yeah.
really fun. I think realistically, it's going to be more of the upfront of like how the Lions' defensive line is going to really impact. But I'm going to still stick with Terran Arnold just because of the praise he's been getting the last couple weeks.
Jordan, go ahead. I'll let you
I
go.
gotta take
I'll
I
see.
gotta take
Go
Micah
ahead.
Parsons.
Good. Good.
It's gonna be, we were talking about it last pod, but it is just like when you watch a Packers game now, like watching Xavier McKinney, it's not the same way because pre-snap you don't see him on the TV screen. Like you see the result of the play and him sniffing out coverage, him intercepting the ball. Like he started the season last year with 5 straight interceptions in as many games. So, but having a guy that can just go all over the line, even on probably a pitch count, like I think it's twofold of like having Micah Parsons on the field is just going to be a spectacle to watch. But it's also going to be like this is the start of what does Jeff Hafley want out of them? How is he going to utilize them? I think honestly, it might not be just that he scratched surface in Dallas in terms of like what they were using him, but the fact that he could just go be over center, come off the edge. Maybe they play him a little bit linebacker. Maybe the formation is going to look more like a 3-4 now based instead of like a 4-3, whatever it is. Like there's just a lot more possibilities. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be all positives in that way, but like I just am excited to just see how this defense evolves in the year 2 under Jeff Hafley.
To keep it fair, I'll go offensive side of the ball. I'll go back to Tucker Craft. Like I think
Good one.
they're going to have Matthew Golden and if Jaden Reed plays, remember Dobbs, kind of all covered. Like they'll be the focal points. It's going to be up to Tucker Craft to find mismatches and get open in the middle of the field to kind of break off some of those big chunk plays we saw him do last year. And if he can sort of be a difference maker, I think that opens up a lot for them both in the run game because he can block too, and
Yeah.
you got to account for him. And so I want this to be the beginning of the Tucker Craft breakout season. That's my hope.
He'll see a lot of Brian Branch and probably Jack Campbell or
Jack
Alexander
Campbell, yeah.
Mattison. Yeah, that's so. I mean, if you get linebacker on a tight end, I personally always like to take the tight end over, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
All right, Tyler, score predictions.
Score prediction.
The
It's,
always reliable. It
yeah,
matters so
it's
much.
it's week one. I'm expecting a little adjustments from both teams, right? Got two new corners for the Lions. You got some new weapons for the Packers, or I guess a new weapon in the Packers with Matthew Golden. I'm gonna go a little scoring here. I know it's a little nicer day in Lambeau. It's not gonna be an ugly weather game, but let's go 21-14 Lions.
Go ahead, Pierre.
I'm kind of similar to Tyler. I feel like it's not going to be like a high scoring game, and maybe we're wrong, but it's week one. Like your offense is still kind of, Jordan Love hasn't really practiced a lot, like you said. Micah Parsons hasn't really been with the team that long. He's probably going to be limited. And the Lions, on the other hand, they did get new coordinators. I still expect them to be really good on offense, but last year on offense, they started slow as well. With Ben Johnson, the same stuff. They've always seemed to start slow for some reason a little on offense. So I'm going to go 24-20 Detroit.
Jordan.
I'll be at the game. Not that that factors in my score.
Good luck or bad luck, usually, Jordan. That's
Jordan,
important.
usually good luck.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah,
All right.
actually, trying to think. I saw them lose to the Buccaneers a couple years ago, which was a miserable game.
He
It
was
was like
famously like the Milwaukee Bucks good luck charm. Like he rarely saw a loss when he was in
I
Pfizer.
tested it in the finals when they won it all, and yeah, that was crazy. Anyway,
I am so dumb. I was thinking, like, what does Jordan and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have anything to do with this? But I realize you're talking about the Milwaukee Bucks.
no. Well, what's funny is
He saw the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Packers,
yes,
but
Okay.
he does really good luck wise watching the Milwaukee Bucks.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
The more I think about it, the more worried I am about this offense and not clicking. I think we have talked plenty about why it probably won't click right away. Like it feels a lot on Jordan Love, Matthew Golden, Josh Jacobs' shoulders. Probably more so Jacobs than anybody else on this offense, really. I'm excited for Parsons. I'm gonna soft it. I'm gonna go. I think the Lions win. I'm gonna go 24-14.
I'll be the
Okay.
sole Packers believer here. I think it's close for all the same reasons you guys all said. I think it's going to be like real close. There'll be some rust to shake off for everybody. First game of the year, it's always a bit of a crapshoot. I'm going real close. I'm going 27-26 Packers. I think
Oh,
I think the defenses play a big factor here, keeping guys out of the end zone. A lot of field goals being kicked. So, all
I
right,
do have a
folks.
question. Are
Oh,
you guys
go ahead.
worried about a Lions takeover at Lambeau like the past couple of years?
well, the thing is, it's not
Tyler.
a gold package game.
Tyler.
Are you guys like, like it feels like sometimes the Lions home game. I'm watching on TV,
The
like there's a lot of blue there.
the discussion and like the sore point amongst
It's
Packer
one of the
fans
stupidest things I've
is
ever
that
seen in my life.
it's
so dumb.
It's that, but the Packers have gold package games where people who had season tickets from Jordan probably knows the history better, but it's basically people from Milwaukee who have like a set games they go to, and they're called the gold package. They always sell them, and they always sell them to uh,
Outsiders.
out of town people essentially to make up to
Is
make
this
a
a gold
profit.
Which-
package game?
No,
No.
Yeah.
And so-
But it's just so funny. It's like, where the hell do these people come from? And it's like, it's Detroit. It's not that far away. Like,
Lions
we're,
fans
go
travel.
drive
I mean,
an
we
hour
took
north
over.
of Green Bay and you're in Michigan.
No one's coming here by wagon. Like, it's
By
such
wagon.
it's like this very arcane like discussion and like. But it's like this thing where we celebrate the fact that look at all
Exactly.
these other opposing fans come to Lambeau. It's so
Yeah, you guys
great.
are too nice. I hate it.
It infuriates me because it's like we
Good.
can't celebrate that it's this amazing thing that everybody's coming to little old Green Bay. Look at that,
Right.
and then it's like, why are there Lions fans in my stadium? Like it's built to have so many people. It's
Right.
84,000 people or whatever it is now.
Like
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
and
Lions fans travel really well. We traveled to Arizona last year, Tyler and I, and we took over that stadium.
exactly
Arizona.
like
80%.
To be fair, that
Cardinals
stadium is
fans.
ready to be taken over by anybody
Yeah.
else.
No, I mean they took over Arrowhead a couple years ago, week 1. They
Oh,
took over
great
that
game.
as well.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah,
And, like,
I wouldn't be surprised honestly. If
No,
it's
I think-
like
I think-
65-35.
yeah, like I think there'll be plenty of Lions fans there. And to Jordan's point, like I hate like that discussion of like, oh my God, why are there so many blue jerseys in the fans? It's a fool's errand in my mind, or just like I'll say naive for fans, especially us, because like I grew up a stone's throw from Lambeau. Like I grew up in Lambeau Field shadow. It's wrong to be like, look at Lambeau, look at this mecca of football, but then put a stake outside that says stay out of here.
Yeah.
Like it just feels wrong to
Right.
do that.
It's a beauty. I've been there. It's a beauty. And like I was gonna mention that is like when I came to Lambeau a couple years ago, it's like it was a Lions takeover, but I was comparing prices from this game to when I went to that Thursday night game in 2023, night and day. So like that could be
right.
a factor. What you guys were saying about that cold package is like it's like I don't want to say more. I don't want to say double, but like it's a big difference from what it was just 2 years ago. Like. If I didn't make that trip a couple years ago, I'm like, this would be a cool game to go see Lambeau Field. I'm like, let me go just see prices. I'm just curious because if I didn't want to go back,
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I'd rather just go see a new stadium at this point because it is very expensive for this game.
And it's week 1.
That
like,
too.
That's the
Yeah.
other thing too. Like you mentioned, I went to the Packers Lions Monday Night Football game in 21. That was like week 2, but it has felt like the last 3 years have been. It was like week 4, like more mid-season kind of like
outside
when
of
we're
last year,
hosting.
obviously.
Part of
And
it-
then
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the Rodgers last game in 2022. But yeah,
Part of
but
it-
you're right. Outside of that, they've been all early.
Part of it too, Tyler, is that this past offseason, the Packers took an initiative where if you were a season ticket holder and hadn't like went to a game in so long, like you just like said, yep, I have my 9 games of home games. I'm selling all 9 games. They took your season tickets away.
Lions did the same thing this year too.
Yeah.
At Ford Field because there's a lot of people doing that.
Same
and
thing.
That's
that-
so
the same
strange.
thing.
Yeah.
It was the same exact thing with Lions
Yeah.
fans, or that people
And
that
it's like,
send
and it's
tickets
like
to
good
Lions.
riddance. Like it's such a like for as I'm sure I don't know if you guys know like the lore or anything, but to get on the Packers season ticket list, it's like hundreds
heard.
of thousands of
Yeah.
people along.
Yeah.
And it's people
No,
like
I've
that
heard. It's
who
crazy.
hoard their season tickets, but then don't go to any games. They just make a profit off of them.
There's a wait list on the Lions right now. I think they said it was around 80,000 or some shit. Like
Yeah,
that.
no, the Lions one is bad, but it just came bad when they got good. The Packers one is crazy because it's just people like passing it down to their families.
Well,
and,
Yeah.
it's that.
and a lot of these people don't care about the Pack. Like,
It
or they
was
don't care about football,
honestly
they're
like
making
that.
profit.
It was like that during the late 80s.
Yeah.
And that's when the Packers were at their worst. Like, continuously worse.
It's to the point
Yeah.
now to where if I wanted my 4-month-old daughter to have season tickets, I would put her on now, and she might get them in her
And she
lifetime.
might get it, yeah, and there's a chance she
Yeah.
doesn't get it. Yeah, that's
They're-
nuts.
it's just too
That's
long.
crazy.
It's just too long.
Yeah.
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 So, all right, folks. That does it for this episode of Talk the Tundra. Thank you, as always, to the Pride Podcast. Tyler, you're a joy as always. Pierre, it's been a nice pod there. Looking forward to it in the future, obviously.
For sure.
Moving forward in the next 5 days, I hope you guys have a horrible Sunday. But I hope it goes terrible. I hope it goes terrible. I hope, Tyler, you break open that bottle of Fireball. And Tyler, Pierre, tell us where the listeners can find you.
I could have Tyler send you Fireball after the game, you know? I could have send you a bottle if you want.
Green
But,
Bay, they have those what were they called? Apple pie shots. Those are unreal. I like,
I
Oh,
love
yeah.
apple pie. Oh, I
Oh
love
man,
apple pie.
in Wisconsin they're different over there. I'll tell you that. But-
That's true.
So-
No, all jokes aside,
But
though.
they can go crack that after the game. But yes, you can find us on any podcast platform or the Blue Wire website where you guys might be listening to this. Apple Podcast, Spotify, the Pride Podcast. We're on it all, and then we'll be doing our live game show every Sunday, pregame and postgame. So hopefully, a happy postgame from us after we beat the Packers again, and we're talking about a 1-0 start.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. All right, folks. Thank you for listening. Check out all things GSPN at gspn.info. Hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel if you haven't already. We'd appreciate it. We will see you Sunday night. Tyler, Pierre, thank you. And Jordan, thank you.
Thank
See
you.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you Thanksgiving.
right.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.